So now I would like to invite one of our graduate award recipients, Abby Turbenson, to come forward and give our valedictory address, the address of leave-taking.
Mr. Balsba, Dr. Clare, Deacon Michaud, members of the faculty and staff, parents, family members, friends, benefactors, and guests. On behalf of the class of 2017, thank you for your wisdom, your support, your leadership, and your generosity. In supporting us over the last 6 years, you have allowed us, like every class that graduates from Trinity, to have experienced excellence and to have had the opportunity to pursue it. For your support in our individual and communal endeavors, we thoroughly thank you. We, the class of 2017, have all experienced the challenging curriculum of Trinity. We have come to know the logic and the beauty in the eigenproblem. We've spent time contemplating the strange and charming quarks that exist as the smallest building blocks of our world, and have looked to the very edges of our ever-expanding infinite universe. We have all performed music and created art that delights and inspires ourselves and each other. And, of course, we have read a lot of books. A few weeks ago, as I was gearing up to study for my final oral as a Trinity student, I found myself admiring the pile of books that I have acquired over the years. Feeling like a wistful, soon-to-be high school graduate, I decided to look back at where it all began for me. I entered Trinity in 9th grade, so unfortunately my pile of books does not include any Tolkien, or books written in Old English, or stories about bunnies. The book at the very bottom of my stack is My Antonia. My Antonia was my first literary experience at Trinity, but for all of us, the book holds special significance as the first novel we read in Humane Letters. I opened to the preface and read in Latin, Optima dies prima fugit. The quote is from a man whose words I would come to know the second semester of my sophomore year, only to have him appear again during my senior year as the wise tour guide of my vicarious journey through Dante's vision of hell. Virgil's words, chosen by Cather for her epigraph, read in English, "The best days are the first to flee." In my fragile state of heightened reflection brought upon me by graduation, I can certainly relate to this phrase right now, and I suspect I'm not alone among my classmates. Whether it is time spent with teammates on long runs through Mendota Heights neighborhoods, or walking to the library with my neighborhood friends countless times between May and September, or the profound discussions that spilled over from Humane Letters into lunch, there's no doubt that I've had many good experiences up to this point, experiences that I will never be able to have again. Optima dies prima fugit. The best days are the first to flee. Although I am leaving Trinity with many good days already behind me, I am confident that there are just as many good days yet to come. We will have experiences that build on what has come before and illuminate what we have learned thus far. What I find myself seeking at this moment is a way of being in the world that will give my life meaning. This may seem strange, but I want to start talking about a way of being in the world by talking about a particular kind of recurring experience that I have. Bear with me, this might get weird. So, let's say that I'm walking through Target on a mission to pick up some shampoo and some eggs. I stroll to the last of the grocery aisles, and as I do, I become strangely cognizant of the dry chill of the retail store air and the actions of the people around me. As I reach the eggs, I think about how interesting it is that some come in styrofoam containers, while others come in paper containers. I pick up a dozen styrofoam protected eggs, but upon realizing that such a package is unsettlingly squeaky, I instead opt for the classic paper carton. Looking at the people around me, I wonder about their lives, and I even begin imagining myself as them. I become the 12-year-old boy enamored with the iPad display. I become the Target employee walking down the aisle. I become the stressed-out mother trying to keep her 2 children from turning the large cage of colorful balls into a jungle gym. I unconsciously begin to take on their identities and even fashion for myself an agenda and a mood. I meander through the store, totally losing myself in all of my hypothetical identities, until eventually I make it to the shampoo aisle. Somehow, I vaguely remember that it is important that I add a bottle of this product to the basket hanging on my arm. I reach for the shampoo, then all of a sudden I snap back to reality. I am Abby Turbenson. My parents are Tom and Susie. I had my tonsils removed when I was 4 years old. I like to order the pasta fresca when I go to Noodles & Company. I'm not just any anonymous person walking around Target. I am me. But while under the spell, someone could have told me that I grew up in Canada with 3 little brothers and a pet zebra, and it would have seemed totally plausible. I have no idea if everyone else has these sorts of experiences. Perhaps I am predisposed to such strange metaphysical occurrences on account of how much time I spent watching The Twilight Zone as a child. One way or the other, these experiences make me feel as though I'm existing purely and simply as someone who could be anyone at all. But losing one sense of identity, I seem to gain another, a different consciousness of the present moment, of where I am and what I am doing. For me, the loss of all individual identity and responsibility is exhilarating. In these moments, I feel uniquely connected with every human being. In my anonymity, I seem to experience my existence in and of itself, and I recognize all of the potential that comes along with this existence. In these moments in Target, surrounded by eggs and mothers and 12-year-old boys and khaki-clad employees, I think I get a better understanding of what Father Zosima meant when he said, "All is an ocean." However, while there's a certain purity and existential insight that comes along with the anonymity of simply being one human living among other humans, I see that plain existence is just the beginning. It may be the foundation that God gives us, but I am not an anonymous being. I'm a person with a particular existence. I do have my own unique past, present, and future, and so do all of my classmates gathered here at this precise moment. Yes, we are all unique individuals, but there's more. The very fact that we are all sitting here right now, about to graduate from the school we have all attended, means that we are privileged individuals. I, for one, am able to be the motivated person I am because I was raised in a family that loved and cared for me. Growing up, all my needs were met. I had the opportunity to participate in a variety of activities, from playing violin to learning gymnastics to tap dancing, all of which contributed to my curiosity and excitement towards life. My childhood was an incredible privilege. Probably the biggest privilege of my life is the fact that my parents forced me to come to Trinity and obtain a high school education away from the only friends I had known and in a culture totally different than any I had previously been exposed to. Each of us has our own Trinity story, but no matter who we were when we first walked in these doors, we are leaving fundamentally shaped by the education we have received in ways we are conscious of and ways we are not. And now we are here. We have our mysterious existence, we have the privilege of our pasts, and the honor of an education that has allowed us to see the opportunities that lie in the human experience. But now we are faced with a future full of choices. We will have to choose what we study, which career path we will follow, where we will live, and countless other major life decisions. But we must first and foremost choose who we will be. And further, our privileged past demands of us action. Will we habituate patience? Will we act with urgency? Will we honor tradition? Will we question authority? Will we live simply? Will we appreciate complexity? Will we practice love? I always thought that I would leave Trinity with a full set of academic armor and would go out into the world ready to defend and protect the truths that I uncovered during my time here. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, that is definitely not the case. I am leaving here with far more questions left unanswered than answered. But I know that I was made to choose, and that I cannot cry my life away like Odysseus did for 7 years on Calypso's island, nor do I want to spend my life in the vestibule of hell because I was lukewarm in my decisions. Obviously, things will happen that are outside of my control, and there are core aspects of my identity that I cannot change. But the way in which I exist and make use of my existence, these are fundamentally my choice. Our responsibility lies in making choices that we want to make, that we are conscious of making, and that are aimed at an active rather than a passive existence. My fears are the things which tempt me toward passivity the most. Fear of mediocrity, fear of failure, and most of all, fear of falsity. Here at Trinity, there has always been an emphasis on the pursuit of truth. This is what much of our education was aimed at, and what we have been striving toward during our time here. At the end of our careers here, we are leaving with a profound esteem for the truth. But we have to be aware that a fear of being wrong could cripple us from making active choices about our existence. The path to truth must be full of mistakes, missteps, and false beliefs. We should not be afraid to speak with conviction just because what we say may not contain the fullness of truth. As John Stuart Mill said, truth in the great practical concerns of life is a question of the reconciling and combining of opposites. Right now, I am very much dwelling in a sea of unreconciled opposites. But today, and for the rest of my life, I must choose to find the kernel of truth that lies within every idea I come across. After all, this is my duty as a thinker and as a human. In light of that duty, I really honestly wish I had more to say, but I don't. I wish I had a grand message that could change lives, or a profound conclusion that would inspire you all. But I feel like what I've spent the last 10 minutes saying is nothing new, nothing original, nothing that any of you could not have come up with. All I have been able to do is bear witness to what I have known and to where I'm at. I understand the gift of my existence and the privilege I have enjoyed. And not being able to say any more at this moment, I do have a real hope in a God that is greater than I, a God who loves not only me, but also my freedom. To this God, St. Augustine prayed with words that serve to comfort and guide me in the face of life's difficulty, uncertainty, and complexity. Our heart is restless until it rests in you. Thank you.